Hello, guys, and welcome back to yet another Kaggle Days Meetup. Today, I, Manpreet, welcome you all to a very important and interesting talk. And we have Chanukya with us today. So, he So he's passionate for data science. He's been running a community called D5, whose link I have linked in the description box below, which you can go and check it out. And also, they're organizing an awesome NLP boot camp for the beginners and the advanced. So don't forget to check it out. And there's a lot more interesting that we'll be interacting with him today, and we'll get to learn a lot about him and his work. And maybe we hope that through this meetup, you can take out some interesting takeaways and that would help you in your data science journey. Also, before we start, I would like to thank our community partners Merge Intern, Mozilla Gujarat, Co-Learning Lounge, DevScript, and Learn.Machine.Learning. And yeah, before we go ahead, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to A.I.M Learning. And stay tuned for all the other meetups that we host for you and try to connect you with the other community. Hi, Chanukya.
Hi, hi, Gurpreet.
Hi,
Good morning. Yeah,
Manpreet.
Manpreet, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's really early in the morning,
Hi.
but yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Morning
hope you are
vibes.
doing good. So before we go ahead, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to whichever part of the world you are in. Myself, Chanukya. I'm the co-founder of D5, which we started with a vision to build data culture and democratize data science learning. I'll probably be talking a little more about it during the session. Apart from that, I'm also a founding team member of CompliData, where we help financial institutions such as banks and insurance companies fight financial crime. When I say financial crime, it can be about anti-money laundering compliance or terrorist financing and a bunch of other things. So basically, we help financial institutions fight that with the help of artificial intelligence and using machine learning. So that's some context about myself. Yeah.
Well, that's really great. So, moving ahead, as the topic for the discussion today with you is building essential data science skills through community building. So, first of all, what was your vision behind building DeFi? How did you come up with such an interesting name, DeFi? Is there something reason behind it naming it DeFi? And how does that work for you?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So just to give you some context, education is something that is very close to my heart. So I was always brought up with this school of thought that education is something that will stay with you forever. Okay, it is something that can't be stolen from you or it can't be taken away from you, right? Something like materialistic things. Let's say if it is money or gold or anything of that sort or a property, probably it will stay with you today or it may not stay with you tomorrow or someone can easily steal from you. Whereas when it comes to education, it will stay with you forever. So this is the school of thought that I was brought up with. This is something that was inculcated in me by my mom right from my beginning, right from my childhood. So yeah, basically she's also a school teacher. So that's how it all started. The passion and also the respect for education, because she started teaching so that her kids can get educated and do something impactful. So that's there right from the beginning: education, passion for education. And coming to data science, that's something that I was passionate about right from my bachelors, and also for most part of my career, I used to make decisions, data-driven decisions, and those were impactful. Okay, I was reading this quote, most of the things that you say will be opinions without data. Okay, whereas coming when you put it in context with data, obviously things will be much more objective and things will be much more relevant, and there won't be any bias in the process, provided if you're taking that way. Obviously, we need to put the human intelligence in the entire perspective of decision making. But yeah, so it's a combination of my passion for education and data science that drove us to start DeFi, and then coming to the name, right? DeFi. So D stands for data, and Phi stands for a function in statistics. So that's how it became DeFi. So yeah, that's some context behind data science and DeFi, and how all it started. And also, right from the beginning, so when we wanted to start, right, even I have a co-founder. So when we wanted to start, we thought, we should do something impactful in the field of data science, because that's the thing, and that's something that we are extremely committed to. He's a technologist, and I'm mostly into data science and education, and he's also passionate for education. So yeah, and we thought maybe, it all starts with basic education, right? So we thought, it's better, if we do something impactful in the space of education by shaping the future of AI. And there were enough problems to solve. The problems were motivating enough for us to kickstart the journey. So that's how it all started. Yeah.
That's so interesting to know. As you said, it involved your passion for community and to teach. But sometimes people get to have that greedy and selfish motive behind these things. Instead of building community, they have this motive: I'll get popular, then I'll get this money and stuff. What are your thoughts on this? Is there anything like that you have encountered during your journey, or have you met such people? Not to name, but just to know your experience. How does a beginner deal with it? Because there's a lot of people on LinkedIn having communities doing work. But as a beginner, me coming out of college or me starting out things, I don't know who is right, who is doing what, and then we
Mm.
fall into the trap of being into these things, and then we get discouraged. I'm not learning anything. So, what are your thoughts on all of these things?
Right, right. It depends. I haven't. There might be people with different intentions, definitely, and I don't really want to pin down on that. I can only talk about myself, or about us. So
Yeah,
yeah, so definitely, it's also, it's easy to identify them, right? So if someone is having this particular XYZ intention, then probably it will come out, probably, in a very quick succession. And our intent right from the day one is to create, we were only focusing on two things. One is create an impact and make a difference, and the rest of the things, right, obviously, we need to sustain. In order to sustain, we need to, get capital from somewhere. Okay, right now probably, it's very
yeah,
limited, and we are not spending much, but at some point in time we need to do that. So that's something that was communicated to the community from day one, and we also put it on our blogs, or on our about us page, where we would be, in order to drive the community, or create much more impact, we'll be generating revenue through some other channels, maybe by building business products, but not through learning, not through education. Okay. Because education is something that needs to be provided for free, and I think right now the way it is happening in the market, people are selling it for an extremely exorbitant cost. You don't necessarily need to charge for education, right? If you have the intent and will, there are different means to earn money. So that's not a problem, I believe. And also the things that you're talking about, fame and other things, I think
yeah,
those also, you can get it in different ways, but that shouldn't be the intent. Okay. In my opinion, let's say, money can be an enabler, but it should not be the motivator. Okay. If it is the motivation, then things, I don't think, it'll stick for a very long time. Okay. The motivation should be something really, really impactful, like making a difference or creating an impact. That should be the case. Otherwise, I think it would be really difficult to stick for a very long run. Yeah.
we have several viewers saying you hi.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, and this one from YouTube saying you hi, and this Ravit saying it's a very great initiative. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Ayush, and thanks, Ravit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So you are going to host an NLP boot camp, and you have been hosting different boot camps previously as well. So, what has been your learning through these boot camps? Because I know you people like to educate, but I think in this process, you people also get to learn a lot of things. So, how does this community work and organizing things help you in your learning and making you realize many things that are happening? How does that work?
yeah, that's an interesting question. So first thing is, like, we are doing a boot camp on machine learning, and yeah, so NLP we would want to do probably, like, in the next coming months we would definitely do that. So coming to the learning, right? Before even talking about the learning, the collaboration bit, I alone, or, like, the team alone that we have can't create such a big impact. Okay, and I had been associated with this another community called as CodeChef, which is a group, which is a competitive programming platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had been associated. I mean, I was associated there for close to 5 years, till March 2020 this year. Okay, it's been a very eventful run there, where I learned a lot of things about community, built communities, and engaged with the community for a significantly good amount of time. And there also, like, we had this intent to create a huge impact with like, where we wanted to teach coding to people. Okay, it was a not for profit education initiative back then when I was there. Okay, so that's some context, and that's where, like, my values for community and my values for education and everything gave shape. Though I was passionate, I mean, like, I was able to put them into practice back there, and significantly it has shaped me to a different person altogether there. And so yeah, one thing is there definitely, like, I alone, or like, a bunch of people sitting uh, who are working with us may not be able to create such a huge impact or difference. What we need to do is we need to collaborate. We need to collaborate with like-minded people. Okay, let's say, like, the speakers that I'm talking about. We have been able to get in touch with them and talk to them, and they were interested to come forward to make a difference too. So that's one of the biggest boosts that we have. And at the same time, like, uh, for example, like, when we started the first boot camp, my initial thoughts was, like, we'll probably be teaching to 300 people, whereas in less than a week we got 3000 plus learners who have registered. Okay, that was a huge scale to manage. At that time, I just rolled out a YouTube a video on LinkedIn, and then we ended up getting a lot more coaches or volunteers who were quite excited and quite pumped up to, contribute to the cause. And that's how we were able to scale up things, because 300 we could have managed, but 3000, no, we couldn't. Okay, at that time, like, we need more collaborators. So that's how it all happened. It happened due to the collaboration of the community. And coming to the learnings, right, one is, like, community management, and, like, community collaboration is something that we have immensely learned. And the other thing is the topics itself. I mean, coming to the concepts, I think when you teach, you try to check that it is, like, 100% right. You try to check from 10 different resources, validate multiple times, and then ensure that, like, it is 100% true. That's when you put it up live, right? So I mean, personally, I learned a lot, and my team also says that, like, they learned a lot, and they have basically been able to get their concepts very right, and, like, very clear. I think in the process of teaching, we end up learning a lot more than when you learn it as a learner. So that's something, like, I also keep suggesting the learners that write blogs. Okay, write blogs and try to teach a concept to others. That's when you'll be able to strengthen your concepts much more. So this is something that we also inculcate in our pedagogy while teaching to learners. Yeah.
Yeah. This one comment for you, that it would be great to see you launching a free course for the community.
Yeah, I mean, like, all the courses that we have launched so far, and we will be launching from now, will be free. So it's already free, so you can just access the platform and yeah, enroll for any course of your choice. So yeah.
Yeah. We have a couple more speakers, viewers saying you hi from LinkedIn, because this event is both LinkedIn Live and YouTube live going. So yeah, hi
Yeah.
everyone. Hi George. It's a great, when people encourage you for the work you do and how you have been doing. So, what are some hard learned lessons from your journey from bachelor's to master's to now organizing this community thing to having your own startup? I read that it got selected at DLI top 20, and it's been so amazing to know that. Congratulations for that. I just read in your LinkedIn feature thing that it got featured. So what were the lessons and what were the things that you have learned during your journey that could help the people watching to know, okay, this mistake, if a person has done, I can improve it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So generally, like, I don't remember. I mean, I learn from the mistakes made, or like, from the failures. So one of the nicest thing that, I mean, I keep following, or like, something that I learned is like, we need to celebrate failures as much as we celebrate success. So this is extremely important, and we need to take the learnings from the journey and then move on. Okay. That's the never give up attitude that you need to inculcate, or you need to build, right? So if you ask me, like, what were the failures, or whatever it is, uh, I can't really think of them right now, because I thought of them, and like, probably I jotted it down and then I move on. Okay, I just take away the learnings and then, like,
Yeah.
jump to the next phase. So that's how I had been. Okay, I don't really uh, like, and I ensure that, like, they don't get on me too much. So that's something that I had inculcated right from beginning. But if you ask me, there were a lot of ups and downs. Things won't be very smooth. Okay, if I have to go back to my bachelor's days, so that was the time where, just to give you some more context, back in my third year, I did my internship at NTU Singapore in the field of biotechnology research. Okay, so basically, I was a biotechnology student, and in third year, like, I did my research internship in a lab in NTU Singapore, where I was working on cancer cells. Okay, so that's how it all started, my biotechnology and journey, and others started. But then after fourth year, so I always wanted to get into the world of startups, wanted to become an entrepreneur, do something impactful to the students, or to the people in general. So that has been the objective and the intent right from the beginning. And that's when I didn't go for the offers that I got at university. I didn't go to any of the research labs. Like, I had a couple of offers at the research labs as well. They were paying hefty. But at that time, I made a choice to work for Intern, which was probably, I mean, in terms of financially and everything, like, it was not a great offer, but only the thing that motivated me is the learning. Okay, and also the motivation to get into the startup world and see things closely by working with entrepreneurs, or like, by working with people who are creating an impact at that scale. And then I worked there for a while and then joined Code Chef. I think, in my opinion, like, that was one of the good best decisions that I've ever made, where I didn't really think of materialistic stuff. I was only focusing on learning. So this is something that I even conveyed to my juniors, or anyone for that matter. I never really, I mean, it motivates sometimes, like, right at the beginning of the career, like, even I felt that probably I should get a good package. But then in hindsight, when I look at it, like, it doesn't really bother me, even if I don't, I mean, as of today, like, I don't really bother about packages or whatever it is, but right at the beginning it does. But then
Yeah.
over time, I realized it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really affect. And then there are two things that I kept doing, and that's something that is inculcated by my uh, the leaders who were managing me, and that is, like, creating the impact and making a difference. So that's something I kept doing, and the rest of the things that we are talking about, it came as a byproduct. Yeah, as a secondary side of things. Yeah.
So, do you believe that the impact of people you interact with or you have mentors as creates a lot of, things, how you shape your career or how you think? So, how important is to get like a good person to talk to? How do you approach people? Being a beginner, how would a person approach someone asking help? Because sometimes it happens that people don't even accept your request. They don't reply to you. I know that's fair enough because they are at a position where they get a lot of requests and stuff. So
Right.
how would a beginner do that? And how would they ask their doubts? How would they interact with people on LinkedIn? And how does that all
Hmm.
play?
Right. So in such a case, like one need to be persistent. Okay, as I said, then they shouldn't give up. They need to be persistent, and then they should keep trying, right? So one of the easiest things. So obviously, if I give examples right now of Elon Musk or someone maybe Steve Jobs, uh, not everyone can connect. Whereas if I give an example to a college student, if I give an example of their senior, okay, who has recently passed out, they will connect well, right? So I
Yeah,
would strongly recommend that they connect to their known networks first, understand or learn from the stories and experiences of their seniors or their super seniors or whoever it is, and then gradually go step by step. At the same time, there is brilliant community out there on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has made it a breezer for everyone where you can connect to anyone and everyone. And it's easy to connect to anyone out there, right? So you can also connect to people on LinkedIn. Just to give you some more context, right? So when I applied for my very first abroad internship, I ended up applying to 350 plus labs, and I got some 5 offers. But still, it was a huge failure rate. So that's extremely important. You should keep trying, okay? And
yeah.
in the
That's
process,
the
you never
part
know.
of the process.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's a part of the process. It's just that you should keep going, but but it starts small. I mean, you one has to adapt to different strategies. One is you go small with your network, with your known network, and the other thing is you go broad, where you jump into the world of LinkedIn and some other communities. So if I have to talk specifically about data science, there are plenty of communities, right? There are plenty of influencers who are willing to collaborate, willing to contribute and mentor people. So
yeah.
that's something that can definitely happen. Yeah, that's very straightforward. At least these days, I would say. Back in the days, it was difficult, but yeah.
Yeah. You can connect to him. I've linked his community DeFi in the description box. You can follow him and you can learn a lot from him. So, yeah, we have a question from one of your speakers. I would say that. Um, so, he would like to know your association with DeFi. The
Okay,
one
my
you
extent of
hosted is asking you a question today.
I would like to know how extent of Chanukya's association with DeFi. So yeah, so Tom, I basically it's like my baby. Okay, so yes, I mean I'm heavily involved into into doing a lot of things at DeFi. Of course, I mean I have some of the best people who are behind the cause. If I have to talk about the team, there is someone called as Gunika, there is Manish, Tlana, and there are a bunch of other folks who are bunch of motivated folks who always have this strong desire to create an impact and make a difference. So they always wanted new challenges and really want to do something impactful. And there is the website that we have, there is a nice development team who is working on very small one, a 2-member team, Arib and my co-founder, and yeah, they're managing it. And yeah, it's been eventful so far, and we want to come up with more such initiatives so that we can do our bit to the community. Yeah.
That's good to know. And there's a lot of comments for you that keep up the good work by George. So he hosts like morning data shows, and he's been working on data governance and data
Yeah.
literacy. So yeah, coming, how do you feel that generally when we begin into the field of data science, we feel that it's all about making models, learning and training models, NLP and computer vision. But during the whole process we realize it's also about collecting good data, cleaning your data. You should know how important is to, to be that data to be private. You can't, like, if you are using healthcare data, you can't just publicly show the people's name. So
Yeah.
how does that data feels are different from each other, and how important is for us to know about these things into the field of AI and data science?
Okay, cool. Yeah, before addressing that, probably I'll address Tom's question. I think he's asking whether are you a co-founder. So yes, Tom, I'm the co-founder of DeFi, and coming to this question, right? You spoke about healthcare. Yes, definitely. Those parameters sometimes matter, and probably I'll give you a little more context about fintech as well, where those fields definitely matter in the light of AML compliance and a bunch of other things. I'm not sure how much it impacts when it comes to healthcare, but definitely in the case of AML compliance and others, it definitely impacts, because that's where we try to look for sanction list of a particular. So let's say if we take a person name, okay, in the case of regulatory compliance, we try to check if the person is in sanction list or in any watch list. When I say sanction list, each and every country puts a sanction list. Okay, even India has a sanction list, US has a sanction list. They flag certain individuals. Okay, and there are also someone called as politically exposed people. So yes, I mean those identities matter in the case of a regulatory space, especially in the case of financial technology. But coming to healthcare sector, right? If I have to zero down on healthcare sector, I haven't really worked on specific cases where identities really matter. I have worked on one particular project on Parkinson disease, but there it doesn't really matter. Okay, identities may not impact that
Yeah.
much, but again, if we put into perspective of the location and other things, it does. So yeah, the names, I mean, at least in the projects that I've worked, they were not that impactful, but I'm sure there will be cases where it might have an impact. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
But
you have been
did I
in
understand
India. It's,
yeah, I'm sorry, did I address the question, or if you want to repeat it again and correct somewhere, please feel free to ask. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I meant that initially when we are going into the field of data science, it's generally that we have a perspective that it's all about making models,
Right.
training models, and NLP and computer vision.
Right.
But as a beginner, people don't have this clear idea of importance of data
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
privacy of data. So
Yeah.
how data cleaning and data collection, I
Right.
guess these all also play a very important role. So,
Yeah.
what is
Definitely.
your take on this?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I'm sorry. I got the last bit of the question where we spoke about one particular case, but I'm really sorry about that. So yeah, definitely. I think it's not
It's
just
okay.
about model building, right? It's probably
Yeah.
model building is very small chunk of it. Probably we end up spending 15-20% on it, but a lot more depends on the problem. First of all, we need to identify the problem in the industry. That's extremely important. Okay, if I have to talk about a real world or a real business practical case, the first thing is arriving at a problem, that okay, there is this problem. Identifying that problem itself takes a significant period of time, and then with that problem you need to define the objective, you need to collect data, and first of all, you need to give that data requirements, collect the data, and then start with your typical machine learning pipeline, where you try to clean the data, where you spend significant period of time, because you don't know, I mean, there will be a lot of missingness, there will be a lot of duplicates, or I mean, some entries are written in different way. I mean, you need to do a lot of cleaning and then gradually get into the rest of the journey. That's where model building comes into picture. So the real world data is not glamorous, it's not fancy, as we see in most of the, probably while teaching we try to use some of the glamorous data sets. That's something that we also inculcate at DeFi, where we try to use messy data sets so that people learn, at least get closer to the real world applications or real world data sets. Not completely, but at least close to that. So yeah, it is extremely important. It's not just about model building. There is a lot of things that one need to learn in the entire scheme of things. So definitely that's there. Yeah, I hope I was able to give that context. But yeah,
Yeah.
we can.
So you being from India and studying at NIT, that generally is in a case that tier one, tier two colleges, tier three colleges. What is your take when people say that, or the companies do that, only apply when you are from IIT, NIT, and that branch? We take only these candidates. How does then a person being from different college make his presence in the market? How because this still works in India somewhere or somewhere not, but yeah, this does happen at times. So what
Okay.
is
Yeah.
your view on this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, I have hired probably like more than 50 people, and more than, or like more than 70 people in the last 5 years. I never really looked at those parameters as the criteria, but I do look at those parameters as criteria when someone recruits. I mean, I also find that it's unfair, but that doesn't mean that like one need to one who is not from the tier one colleges should give up. Okay, there are. I mean, we have enough motivation. We have enough stories to talk about. I mean, I can talk about like a lot of people like who have overachieved than. Than people like who have graduated from IITs or NITs, let's say. Okay, so we just look up to them, and then we keep moving. Okay, and especially like if I have to give an example, there is this guy Ian. All right. Okay, he's not from tier
Yeah.
one, tier two college, but still like he made his way, and he's doing something really good. And if I have to talk about the competitive programming space, right? So there are so many people whom I have met, and there is someone called as Anudeep Nikanti. Okay, especially in the competitive programming space, where he comes from a very unknown college in Andhra Pradesh, but still he made it to this competition called as ACM ICPC World Finals, which
Yeah.
is called the Olympics of Programming, and then he made it to Google Switzerland. I mean, he had a very interesting story to talk about, and yeah, I mean, there are enough people whom we can look up to and learn from their experiences. The only thing that these people have done is they have been persistent in their approach. They were like they never gave up in the process. They kept trying. Okay, you have to
Yeah.
be extremely persistent and like perseverance in your approach, and that will take you a long way. Yeah.
So there's one thing for you that DeFi is good doing great in real datathon activities. And I hope that gives you also a lot of motivation to work and contribute and help the community. So you did your bachelor's from India and then moved and did a specialization of master's in data science. So there was this one question: is it necessary to do some specialization courses in the field of data science or AI to increase your chance of employability? Or is it with the projects that things can happen?
Yeah, I think with projects, with passion, things can happen. So my objective behind doing is very different. Okay, I reached a state where like I was not getting time to. I was not getting time to focus on learning. I mean, especially like if I have to learn about a different subject like data science or statistics, like it is really difficult. So I was back in coach if I was managing two teams and I had to make time. Yes, I was able to make time, but I was not able to give a lot of time on this. So I thought maybe like it's better if I enroll for a formal education. I also like I thought like maybe I should do somewhere abroad where the pedagogy and the scheme of things are very different. Okay. So that made me apply to only two universities, one in the US and one here. And I had to make a choice whether I have to go with KU Leuven or the US university. So on like I never wanted to take loans, so I just went ahead with KU Leuven because it was quite economical, and also the course was really good. The university was also good. So I took that choice to go ahead with this, and also there are certain good things that I liked here. For example, there is this open book system where I mean you can take your course notes to the exam, though it doesn't really help in solving the problems, but it's still like you don't really need to memorize or cram things, right? So those are certain things that I really liked. As a professional, I wouldn't be able to again go back, memorize, and then put it, which didn't really make sense to me. So yeah, logically, it made sense to apply and then pursue this course. And yeah, I was fortunate I was able to get this course and then get going. But to be honest, if you ask me now, or if you ask me back then, I wouldn't really recommend someone to do this. So practically speaking, for someone with my background, it would have made more sense to go for an MBA. But I was not a fan of doing an MBA. Okay, because that is something that you can learn from experiences. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, you're there, right? Yeah. So as I said, that's something that you can learn from experiences by doing internships, or by probably working at some startups or big companies. And also same applies to data science, where you can learn by doing projects and by doing a whole lot of things out there. Yeah, we don't necessarily need to have a degree. Okay. And then right now, even organizations are going for skills over degrees. So yeah, you don't really need to worry about that.
Yeah. So there's one question. What do you mean by data culture, and what are the main steps in this direction?
Right. Thanks. Thanks, Sudarshan. That's a nice, interesting questions which I wanted to address. So coming to when I said our vision, probably I'll try and share my screen. Okay, so that I put this up. Yeah. When we started, the vision was to build that data culture and democratize data science learning, right? So if I have to dissect this statement a little more, so I'll probably take an example. So when we go ahead and buy a residential home in a nearby locality, what are the things that we look at? Okay, so probably we end up looking at a couple of things, right? Let's say what is the area of the house, what is the locality in which the house is at, and how many bedrooms are there, how many bathrooms are there. And we look at all these bunch of data points before we make a decision whether we would want to buy a particular house or not. Okay. Also, estimating the price. We also look at a whole lot of points. This is a very small case where I'm talking about looking at data points, bunch of data points to make a decision. So this is a very, very simple case. Whereas, if I look at it from a real world problem solving perspective, there will be a lot more data points, a lot more parameters. So if I have to talk about a business problem in the context of regulatory compliance, probably we will be dealing with 100 such data points to make a decision. Same with healthcare, same with any other field out there. We will probably end up working with so many data points, and then at the end of the day, we want to make a meaningful decision by using that data. So that's where we would want to build that data driven culture, which is unambiguous, which is also not biased in the entire process. It's not opinion, it's data that is talking, and it is data that is helping you arrive at a decision. So that's the kind of culture we would want to build in each and every one. So and with the data world that's coming in front of us, I think it's going to be extremely important for each and every individual to build this culture, so that they can make meaningful decisions. So this is what we want to build. And coming to democratizing data science learning, right? So we would want to build such a platform such that anyone, I mean, not just data science is not just a data scientist thing. Any marketer can consume data to be able to make decisions. Any, let's say, logistics manager or anyone for that matter should be able to come on DeFi and should be able to learn data science skills seamlessly. So this is the intent, this is the objective with which we started, and this is the culture we would want to build. Yeah. And coming to the steps, right? What are the main steps in this direction? So obviously, we are taking some steps. So our very first step, we did a 5-week data science boot camp, where we conducted it with the help of some of the speakers in the community, just to show you, this is how we started with a small blog, where we invited a bunch of speakers and asked them to deliver sessions. And we had back then 3 tracks, where we were having one absolute beginners, and also there was this intermediate track. So we started from scratch. We were helping people from non-data science, non-mathematics, non-statistics background get started with data science, and also like people of any age. So I'll just probably also share one of the posts that I've made. So in this particular post, I've put the screenshots of two learners, one who is of age 14 and the other person who is of age 68. Okay. So, and not just that, like, we have also seen people from all professions who were able to harness the power of community learning and able to uh, get started with data science in the process. So this is how we started our journey. And again, gradually, like, we would want to, where, like, we, everyone, the learners and the speakers and everyone witnessed the power of community learning, where everyone were learning together, struggling together, growing together, and exchanging knowledge together. And together we were able to witness and harness that power of community learning, and together we were able to make things happen. So that's the objective, and that's how we had been operating, and that's how we will probably continue operating, to be able to uh, like, help people acquire these essential data skills. And coming to the platform, right? So we have already started with live boot camps, and we are also, I mean, we also conduct datathons on real world problems, which happen every weekend. And we also have a nice discussion forum where people try to discuss, and also at the same time we also have a Slack channel where people keep on putting their questions, and some of the people in the community try to respond to them, and they co-learn, they also, like, exchange knowledge together. And we also have put a bunch of micro courses. So this is our journey to solving that problem, or like, to build that data culture. So this is how it all started. And we are like, we just started, and probably, like, we'll have to build a lot more things in order to achieve that vision. Yeah,
Could
so
you
that's some
please share,
context.
share the Slack link so that I could share in the chat and in the
Yeah,
description
sure,
box?
sure, sure, sure. I'll probably share that as well. So this is our Slack channel where, like, we keep putting things, and here you can see, like, people asking questions and responding to it. But probably, like, we'll try and share this. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Should I put it on chat? I think I can't, right? But yeah, I'll
mhm,
probably put it on private chat with you.
yeah,
You can maybe put it. And this is the Slack, and probably this is the website where you can go, defi.tech. And yeah, you can, I mean, yeah, you can go and get started with your data science journey if you are someone who's a beginner. And for someone who wants to enhance, there are enough library of tutorials and other stuff which can help you enhance your knowledge too. Yeah.
yeah. So, apart from all of these things, as you were discussing, you told about doing projects, approaching startups. So, how does a person or a college student approach startups for like internships and for, getting jobs? And how should they make their profile look that way and approach people for things?
Right. So yeah, that's very case specific, but there are very general rules that apply, right? So for example, if I'm applying for a company, or if I'm applying for any research lab or anything of that sort, we need to try and keep things very contextual to that particular company. So if you have done a particular project that is related to the work that the company is doing, try to mention it in your SOP, in the statement of purpose. Okay, especially when it comes to internships, right? So there is this platform, especially in India, there is this platform called as Internshala. If I talk about Belgium, there is something called as student.be. And I'm sure, like, in each and every country, there are some internship portals for students to get started with their internship journey. Whereas for the jobs, there are a lot of websites who will help you get your job, including LinkedIn. Right? Even on LinkedIn, you can get the internships. But the approach that you make should be very unique, should be very contextual to that organization. Tell why you want to join that organization, and see whether you really connect to it or not. And in my generally I have spoken to a lot of recruiters, did some surveys, and I myself as a recruiter look for those unique elements. If someone directly talks to me on point saying that, hey, this is the problem that you're trying to solve, and this is something that I have already done in the past, and this is the kind of impact it had. If I see that in a two-liner or a three-liner, then probably I'll shortlist him or her. Okay, I'll shortlist them, and then I'll take forward their application. Of course, the outcome can be positive or negative at the end of the day, but at least they will get an opportunity to
Yeah.
interview. Okay, so that is something that's extremely important. If you want to increase your chances from application to interview, at least ensure that you put relevant stuff, something contextual to the organization. Otherwise, your application uh, will not stand out in the pool of applications. And obviously, there are some best practices of building your profile. Let's say putting it on GitHub, or maybe having a nice LinkedIn profile, and all those things. I think generally those we have plenty of content around it, but putting things in context definitely helps in the process. Yeah.
Okay, that's really very interesting. So, is there something you would like to share with our viewers? Also, like, yeah, you were discussing about the open source things, like you said about the ACPC thing. So, how important do you think is uh, competitive coding important when you're applying for data science jobs, or is it people should know competitive coding or not? Because you might have heard this question a lot of times, and that's why you're smiling.
Mm-hmm. No, actually, I was going through one of the things. Actually, I went to through one of the webinars which were conducted by Code Chef, where they invited the CTO of Swiggy. I think it was Dale Vaz who was there. So even he was asked, whether someone needs to know competitive program. So generally, in India, and generally across the globe, people have taken this shortcut where they are giving a coding challenge and then screening people. So that is something that has become a trend in the recent past. And if you clear the coding challenge, that's when you get to interview, right? So unfortunately, I also got to know that people are doing it for data science roles as well. But there are companies who don't do it. Okay, for data science, you may not necessarily need to be extremely good with competitive programming. Okay, yes, you need to be good with basic data structures and others, but a data scientist needs to do a lot more things that is beyond competitive programming. Okay, so yes, for freshers, I think as per my knowledge, at least in India, they are taking the competitive programming route. So probably
Yeah.
you need to learn that and crack it. But definitely there are organizations who don't take that route. Okay, I can. There are a lot of organizations who don't take that route properly. You can also give it a shot, build a community. Build a nice profile, and try to reach out to people in your networks or in your extended networks, and see if there is an opportunity. But yeah, that's some context. And how again, come back. Let's come back to your question. Can you repeat it? If I missed out of anything, I'll probably address about the
No, no,
competitive
no.
programming.
You had answered it pretty well.
Okay.
So, one thing I want to know that there are a lot of, open source like GSOC, Outreachy in the field of software, Anita Pock. What are some relevant open source things happening in the field of data science? Can you share that help person to learn, collaborate, and build their profile and stuff?
Right. Yeah, I think there are some really cool platforms let's say Kaggle also hosts a lot of nice data science challenges, right? Which you can collaborate with
Yeah.
people and then participate. And there is something called as Om Dena. And there is driven data where you get to solve real world challenges. So similarly, there are a bunch of platforms which you can go there and collaborate people and learn from the entire experience. I really love this factor of collaborating with people, like-minded people from different regions, and then building something really cool. So that definitely helps. So I'm sure there are a bunch of platforms which one can enroll and do something crazy. So yeah, in data science too. So yeah, we just need to search. But I
Okay.
told about some of the platforms that are on top of my head. There is something called as AI Crowd too, where they host some really awesome challenges. So of course, I mean, we also host some challenges. Definitely, that's there. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who are doing some amazing things, and I think everyone needs to try and coexist and co-create. That's where we will be able to do something innovative and impactful. Yeah.
So it was really awesome talking to you. And before we end this session, do you have anything, takeaways, or important point for our viewers? And then we'll have a small rapid fire game. But then before you
Okay.
tell me what's like you want to take away things or you want our viewers to, we at least know these things and be good.
Yeah, I think I pretty much covered most of the points. The most important thing is, I think, having that never give up attitude and being persistent and perseverance in our approach. I think these two things definitely help. And also having that strong desire to create an impact and make a difference. I think these are some of the qualities that would help you solve any problem for that matter. And if you are getting these things right, then rest will be the history. So yeah, that's something that's the takeaway that I'll probably
Well,
give to anyone.
yeah. So
Yeah.
this is small rapid fire game. I'll give you a word and you have to immediately tell me a word that comes to your mind when you listen this word. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Let's get to the rules again. I mean, I want to get it right. So yeah,
I'll
can you
say you a
repeat it?
word. I'll say you a
Huh?
word and you have to immediately tell me a word that comes to your mind first when you hear that word. Suppose I tell you
Mm-hmm.
today specs, so you look handsome or something, you have to tell me that thing. Whatever comes
Okay.
to your mind. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So the first word is data.
Data. Okay.
You have to be quick.
Okay. Problem solving. That's what comes to my mind. Yeah.
That's so late. You have to be very quick. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Sure. Sure.
Okay.
First question, right?
Community.
So I'm yeah. Community. I think experiences.
The
Sorry, what is the third one?
LinkedIn.
Networking.
Learning.
It's passion.
DeFi.
DeFi, community learning.
Okay. And weekends.
Weekends, more work, more community contributions. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Is there
yeah.
any fictional character that you relate yourself with and it inspires you to work more hard? And you have someone you can relate to who inspires you to work towards all of the things you do for everyone in the community.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really think of a fictional character, to be honest. I mean, yeah, but probably I will read some comments for now. And I think Tom is saying I'm slower than you. Yeah, actually, I think Manpreet has put some additional pressure on me to get it very
Yeah.
quickly. But yeah, I would have taken my sweet own time to answer them. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but then it's all a part of process and learning and not too serious at the end. So it's a fun learning process through
yeah,
meetups, through datathons, through boot camps by DeFi, right?
yeah, true, true. That's there. And yeah. And yeah, and thanks for having me. I
Okay,
think it was great chatting with you, and you're doing some really good work by bringing in some of the amazing stories by some of the really good
just like you.
folks. I mean, I have seen some of them in the past, and I think really good to know that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have one question. Can you advise to the beginner in Kaggle? Please give some advice to the beginner in Kaggle.
Beginner in Kaggle, right? So actually, I have written a blog around it. So in fact, like, I took my sweet time before getting started on Kaggle. Okay. I didn't really solve a lot of problems though, but just to understand the platform. But I think it's a really great platform. It offers you uh, the what do you call a virtual machine. Even if your machine is not that great, you can just go to Kaggle and then get started there. And I think it's a brilliant
Yes.
platform that we have seen in the recent past. And how do you get started? I would rather suggest take a very small problem. They have some brilliant getting started videos too. There are kernels and notebooks who that will help you get started. Just go through their getting started video on I think on a very simple problem they have already put up there. Just
Titanic
go through that.
problem.
Yeah, Titanic problem. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So there is a very nice video that they have put. I think it will help you get started. The one thing that you need to keep in mind that just go with this intention that you can do it. Okay, if you have some doubts and probably if you have this I mean, if you are thinking in a negative fashion, then probably you may not be able to do. But just go with that intent that you can do it. It's very simple to solve problems on Kaggle. They have made it very seamless. So I would strongly recommend go there and probably solve a few. Okay, yeah, and
Yeah, before
yeah,
we end, some few
yeah,
compliments for you from the viewers. The show is great. Thank you.
yeah,
And from George, keep up the good work you're doing. From Pranshu, it's great to be the part of the process and you can adapt when you are in practice.
yeah.
And yeah, so
Thanks.
this
Thanks,
is
thanks
what
a lot,
we have for
everyone,
you.
and yeah, thanks Tom, thanks George, and thanks everyone, thanks Dio, and yeah, it was nice catching up early morning. I was doubting if I would make it. I just got up a while back and then I was rushing, but yeah, it was nice catching up. Thanks a lot for the invitation and you to keep doing the amazing work and yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
so much. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today on Sunday morning, early morning for you and all the viewers who are watching us now. And thank you so much. Until we meet next time with some amazing speaker again, yet sharing their experience. Until then, have a happy weekend.
Yeah, bye. Take care.